And most people that have gotten to six figures and are trying to stay, trying to figure out how to get to seven figures aren't thinking at the next level. You have to start running your business from your vision point and not your vantage point, because anything you do from your vantage point is going to be skewed. So you're going to have to think
That
higher.
is a great comment. I love that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Relaunch Podcast. And woke up this morning and just felt power is in the house. I mean, when you have people that come on to the show that just light up the airways, they understand what it means to bring that elevated energy. You know what that does to me. You know what it does to you. And today is going to, no doubt, rise you up and make you thinking about, make you not just thinking, make you think what you can be doing in the future, starting today, right? So, on today's episode of the Relaunch Podcast, we are joined by the inspiring Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon, and she is a business strategist known for helping entrepreneurs not just scale into the sixes, but to seven figures with purpose and alignment. And we're going to talk about how many of those she has on her wall, kind of notching it up. Because there's one thing to say it, there's another to have done it. We're going to be diving into the pivotal moments of her past relaunches, the things that make her who she is today, and what changes that she's navigating in her life today. And again, where her vision is set on the future. And this is where I get inspired hearing about what's to come, what we're thinking about, what's next on the horizon. So get ready for an insightful conversation of not just great convo, but also reinvention, growth, and welcome the dynamic right now. Drum roll, Darnyelle. This is your opportunity to shine on the Relaunch Podcast. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Hilary. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this conversation. I've been waiting for it since we had to reschedule. So I'm glad that we're both here now.
And here's the thing. It about killed me that I had to say, we got to push it off. But sometimes those times where we push things off and it just is meant to be. And I have to say, I'm having a great day today.
Awesome.
So this is absolutely like the icing on the cake for me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing all of your amazingness to this show. And, I always like to start where we do a little bit of that. Let's look back. And it's so necessary because there's so many lessons that we learn through the relaunches that we go through. And I always love to ask, what is that significant one that really changed you? Because it shares so much with the people listening, with myself, on who you really are. So let's start there with that relaunch that really changed the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, so it was 2021 where I recognized.
So not too long ago. We're like zipping right. We are passing up. We are no longer with like baby. We are no longer with like teenager. We're going straight.
We're going straight in. The most significant relaunch happened just a few years ago. Honestly, I woke up one day after, at that point in time, having been in business for 12 years. And I just knew something needed to change. Have you ever had a quickening in your spirit where you just know all of a sudden the place that you've been lingering, that you've been hanging out is no longer the space that you need to remain in for your next level? That's literally what happened to me. And this has happened to me a few times throughout my career, but most notably as an entrepreneur, it was 2021. And I just remember that day recognizing that everything that I had done up until that moment was a stepping stone for me to actually really step fully into who I'm being created to be. And so to paint a little bit of the backdrop, prior to that, our business had done well. The clients that we served, we transformed them. We were doing great work, but I was being called higher. And so the station that we had in our business up until that point was really working with entrepreneurs, micro business owners to help them to get to six figures. And we were the best at it. And we had even helped a handful of people get to seven figures at that point. My own business was doing seven figures. And I just all of a sudden started to feel that I had stepped into a different frequency of myself. And as a result, everything needed to up level. The clients that we serve needed to up level. The experience that we curated for our clients needed to up level. The client service delivery standards that we set, everything needed to up level. And when I looked at the business, when I looked at the brand, when I look at what we had been doing, everything needed to change. And so the only way to get to where we are today was to go through the process of a relaunch. I called it a refresh, but to use your word, we had to restate for ourselves and for the marketplace who we are, the space that we are uniquely qualified to fill, and we needed to have the brand presence and the energy of the experience to back it up. And so we went all in on, I don't want to say burning it down because we didn't burn it down, but we went all in on upheaval, removing, getting rid of all of the things that were no longer operating at the frequency that we were created. It was then, Hilary, that we shifted from high ticket to high end, because there's a
Okay,
difference.
hold on, because that is so good. But Darnyelle, what's interesting about what you said is that we often talk about this, kind of like that moment of like, hey, what I'm doing right now isn't where I'm supposed to be going. And we say, the identity of not just you, but your business, and it's tied, almost like intertwined together. You said that you just had this moment where you even know the date, exactly. What were you thinking before this happened? Were you starting to think like something was off, or was it just like that lightning bolt that hit you and it's like, whoa, I gotta do this right now?
I knew something was off, but I couldn't quite put my fingers on it. And so I had gotten a divine download in late 2020. And the divine download in late 2020 was what ended up becoming what our brand has morphed into. It was three words: move to millions. And when I sat with that and just really searched my spirit, what came up for me was that I was now being primed and positioned to be the catalyst to help micro businesses cross the seven figure mark, right? So we can look at the statistics. 4.2% of the 33 million small businesses in this country do seven figures a year. It's substantially less if you are a woman, 1.9%. If you are Black, 0.9%. And if you are a Black woman, 0.5%. And I was being ushered into, I had done the work, I had helped others already achieve this milestone to now build my company on that. And so I knew something was off because I started the journey of integrating Move to Millions into my existing branding. And it just felt like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And that's when I recognized that we needed to up level everything, that we needed to go back to the drawing board. Now, in full transparency, I had never gone through the branding process. I have a background in marketing. My MBA is in marketing. I know how to use words to get people to take the actions that I want them to take. That's marketing, right? I knew how to do that. And I was never concerned about what it looked like. My website was mediocre at best. It was mediocre at best. But for me to raise up an echelon and go to the top of the micro and small business market, right? The micro business owner. And when I say micro business, I mean a business that has less than 10 employees. To go to start working with the top of the micro business owner market, I knew that my persona, the brand presence that we exuded in the marketplace with confidence, had to look and feel different because consumers, our ideal client, they're programmed to notice what's different. And if we went in with our old way of doing things, we would not have gotten the attention that we've been able to get since then. So I had the notion in 2020. We started the rebranding and relaunching process in 2021. We relaunched officially in 2022. Since the end of 2021, we have helped 70 businesses, 45 for the very first time cross seven figures, and 25 their next seven figures. So in a very short period of time, our framework and methodology has created 70 seven-figure CEOs.
That wow.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you what is so interesting that I find, because I deal with impact millionaires and millionaires in the making, right?
Mhm.
You want to be an impact millionaire, and how do you do it?
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of people out there that are saying that they're already crossing over, and some have, but they can't stay there. And
Right.
I love what you just said about 25 getting to the next. Is that what I heard
Yep,
correctly?
you heard that
I
correctly.
mean, okay, how and how would you say your approach is for people listening? What advice do you give for people, first off, like,
Mhm.
when we're working with these millionaire in the making, what do you tell them? How do you help them? Because as you said, you had to kind of, you didn't burn the boat
Mhm.
all the way down. You kind of just, you did a massive reshuffling, you did a massive relaunch with your brand, with everything. What do you suggest people who are thinking right now, I want to cross over into the seven figures, and wow, I kind of have to do the same thing. Do I keep going with what I have because I want to get to the seven figures, or do you suggest do it and do it now?
Yeah, so what I'll say first is this. What got you to six figures won't get you to seven. So you're going to have to evaluate everything that you're currently doing in your business. You can oops your way to low six figures. So you can land upon one great opportunity and generate $200,000 a year. That doesn't even really make you a business, because at that point in time, you don't really have operational infrastructure. You don't have systems that you're utilizing, and you likely don't have a team. You're probably the only service provider. You might even be customer service, customer retention, sales, marketing. You might be doing everything yourself. We call that a solopreneur, right? In the online marketing space. If you want to get to seven figures, you're going to have to call everything you're doing into question, and not necessarily in a bad way. You're going to have to evaluate and solidify that what you have been doing is going to put you in a position to be able to scale. Scaling, by definition, means that you have something that you can multiply, duplicate, and replicate. Now, I said a minute ago, you can oops your way to six figures. And to get to six figures, you don't need anything to multiply, duplicate, or replicate. But to get to seven, you need some systems and infrastructure that you can leverage to make success predictable. You need a sales system that is leverageable, meaning you can go from getting one yes at a time to getting 10 or 20 or 100 or 1,000 yeses at a time without breaking your business. You have some processes, some process maps, some procedures, and some process flows that if you are not the one performing that function in your company, someone else could literally walk in and get hired today, and tomorrow they could be performing a task that would move your business forward. And most people that have gotten to six figures and are trying to stay, trying to figure out how to get to seven figures, aren't thinking at the next level. You have to start running your business from your vision point and not your vantage point, because anything you do from your vantage point is going to be skewed. So you're going to have to think
That
higher.
is a great comment. I love that.
Yeah.
And when you start thinking about your vantage point and you're looking out and you're saying, how far ahead do you believe a business owner, let's say that they are mid six figures,
Mm-hmm.
how should they be thinking in terms of what type, like how much revenue should they be thinking about? Because people often have issues with, okay, well, if I'm 250, do I start thinking about 500, a million? Like how far out should they go?
Yeah, you want to 10x. So if your goal is to cross the $1 million mark, you need systems and infrastructure for 10 million.
Do you hear that, everyone? That is great. So now the people who are saying, well, Darnyelle, that's awesome, but how can I afford to do that? Because you get that all the time.
Yeah,
How can
and
somebody afford to do it?
it's a real question. It's something really to consider, right? So when you put your infrastructure in place, so you build your org chart as if you have a $10 million company. Everybody on your org chart isn't going to be hired the moment you say, I want to get my business to the $1 million mark. That would not be wise. But you need to know in advance who you're going to need as your volume picks up, as your revenue picks up. And so first you build the $10 million org chart, and then you back into, okay, we're at $250,000 now. In order for us to get to a $500,000, who needs to be on the team? Well, if you haven't done so already, and this is typically where our clients come to us around that $250,000 mark, you need to replace yourself. So that means you need to move from client service delivery, and you need to get to the point where you can work on the business and strategically preside over it. So that means at minimum, you're going to need a talent team member, someone who performs the service. And you're going to need an administrative or operational team member, someone who is taking all the administrative things and many of the operational things off of your plate so that you can strategically preside over the business. You might not yet need someone who's doing marketing and sales. That might still be your contribution because you're no longer serving the clients, but you want to begin thinking about that, right? So once I get to a $500,000, because I've brought in someone else, that increases our capacity and allows us to serve more clients. I've also looked at shifting our services so that we're not working one-to-one, but we can begin to work one-to-many. And I might decide that for every 40 clients we have, we need one talent team member. So if we're up to bringing on our first 40 clients, that's just one additional person. If we've got 40 clients and we're ready to bring on our next 40, now we need a second talent team member. And here's what I want you to recognize: when you build it, you will actually fill it. But it is very challenging to get to 80 clients when you only have one service provider.
So let me ask you this question, and hopefully I'll say it correctly. Do you believe in the philosophy that you have to spend money to make money, or you need to make the money so you can spend the money?
I think both are true.
Okay, keep going with this.
Yeah, so
because there's a lot of philosophies out there that, I got to have it in the bank before, or heck no, I am seeing it out there. I'm going to already start to execute against it.
yeah, I think both are true, right? And so there's a couple of things that you need to first understand about money. So I'm glad we're going to go on this little sidebar and tangent. Number one, you have to understand that money is an energy that's always available. So there's no shortage of money. If money isn't flowing into your business, it's because you don't have the capacity for it to flow in. And so once you understand that, then that's going to allow you to start thinking about what you need. And let's keep it real. For you to hire someone on your team, you don't need what you're going to pay them for the next year. You probably really only need what you're going to pay them for the next 90 days, because within 90 days, they should actually be productive, impacting your business's bottom line. So you don't have to have, if my salary is $75,000 a year, you do not need to have $75,000 sitting in your bank account when you extend me an offer to work with you.
Absolutely. And you always have to be thinking,
that's the first
how are
part.
you impacting revenue? How are you
Absolutely.
impacting? How are you helping us? Let's get
And
there as
every
soon as
team
possible.
member, and this is where most small businesses, micro businesses go wrong, is they hire team members without giving them a revenue generation goal. Everyone who works for you, when you are a micro or small business, needs to be able to, or you ought to be able to figure out how their being hired is going to contribute 3 to 10 times what you pay them to your business's bottom line. So that means that they either need to be a direct conduit to revenue, or they need to free you up to go create revenue. Period.
That is, can I tell you, I learned that when I first went to Oracle.
Mhm.
And it was one of those like light bulb moments that I'm like, okay, I get that. Because I was helping a lot of general business, a
Mhm.
lot of those smaller companies. They were trying to figure out, how am I going to grow? How am I going to do this? I need to hire this person. And they started to accumulate all these people,
Mhm.
but they weren't getting them any closer to the revenue glow, to understanding profit margin. So super exciting. Okay, but I got to keep going.
Okay.
So now that we're like moving into present day, what are the relaunches today that you're actually going through?
Yeah. So, at the time of the recording of this conversation, we have shifted. The marketplace has shifted. We're not in the growth market of COVID-19 where it's very easy to close clients. We're now in a mature market. And in a mature market, there's a couple of different things that are happening. Number one, buyer cycles and buyer psychology shifts. So it's not that the problem that needs to be solved is any less urgent. It's that people are taking their time and being more discerning before they make an investment because they've squandered lots of resource investing in the wrong things because they were too fast off of the credit card. So as a result of that, in this market, you have to really be paying attention to your ideal buyer and their buyer psychology. And so for us, what that means is looking at our offer suite to determine if we need to create a new entry point. So this is for anyone who works business to consumer or business to entrepreneur in this market. And let's say you had a high end, high ticket brand in this market, it could make sense, could asterisk, because I'm not looking at your business. So I don't want you to take anything I'm saying to you as this is what you must go out and do, but you at least need to evaluate and consider the feasibility of this. You may need to introduce a lower priced option. And let me tell you what I mean when I say lower price. Let's say right now your programs are $30,000, right? You're a coach, you're a consultant, you're an accountant, you're an attorney, and to work with you to come and have you serve a client is 30K for whatever duration of time. Well, you might want to introduce something that is less than 5K as a starter opportunity, as a feeder even for a person to evaluate and consider whether or not you could be the right fit for them. And it could be anywhere from $0 to 5,000. It depends. Every business is different, right? When we talk about offer suites, and I talk about this in my book Move to Millions, we teach that you need a signature offer, which is at least $10,000. You need a select offer that's at least $30,000, and you need a significant offer that's at least $100,000. Well, in this market, you might need a superb offer that's at least $5,000, or you might need a soft offer that's at least $1,000 or a starter offer that's at least $100. I don't know because I'm not looking at your
I
client.
like I like the way you're going though, because what you're doing is there's an entry point at many different areas. And what you're saying is the market is actually now kind of wanting to do a little bit more of the testing,
Correct.
right? Let me take a small step in. Are you finding that when we always say that it's just as hard to sell, let's say, $1,000 product as it is to sell a 50,000, a
That is actually
100,000?
not true. It is easier to
Okay,
sell the higher end product.
I
It is
agree
easier
a
to sell a
hundred percent.
$100,000
Oh
program
my
than it
God,
is
I'm
to
high
sell a $10,000.
fiving you. I'm high fiving
Yeah,
you.
because
That's
we're not talking to the same people. The person who's going to buy the $1,000 thing is not the person who's going to buy the $100,000 thing. They are not the same.
And it's interesting as you become kind of that discerning. This is what I'm really looking for. You've been there, you have the capability of paying for the quality. All of a sudden, you're not kind of chicken and what is it called? Chicken and diming, something like that.
Yeah.
You're not going into that saying, I need to know, I need to know. So here's what I want to ask you for all those people that are starting to be like, oh no, simple offer, soft offer, the lower end. And you're like, but wait a second, it's taken me all this time to get to my high ticket offer. Are you telling me I need to go back down the chain right now? What are you really saying
Yeah,
in today's
I'm
market?
I'm saying I want you to consider the feasibility of expanding your offer suite to be able to get new clients through the door. Because we're not in a marketplace where a person who's cold to you, they don't even know who you are, is going to necessarily give you $30,000 tomorrow when they first learn about you.
Right.
So if you have something that is at a lower price point, that's a great way. I call it the reservoir strategy. It's a great way to build a reservoir of customers that purchase, that demonstrate that they want to solve a problem and they see you as a solution. Because statistically, once a person has spent any amount of money with you, 78% of them will buy from you again. And in this current market, where there are messages looming about the economy and a recession, plus we're in an election year, and all of these variables and unknowns are happening, people are a little bit tighter with their purse. Not that they don't have money, but they're not releasing it willy-nilly because there are a lot of
You know what?
things that are
You know what I
pending.
heard yesterday? I heard this yesterday. Um, from a great source said that what people are doing now is even like doing payment plans on even the low end purchases,
I believe
like
that that is happening.
40
Yeah.
$49 $99, and that being able to offer even a solution like that. And I think it's like it has to be over $36 for one of the payment plan companies to come in and take it. But when you're looking at all of this right now and you're seeing that this shift, these global relaunches, right, with all of the economy and with the political landscape, and with, I mean, I just heard, another that some of the major companies are now making everyone go back 5 days a week. This is creating kind of that the turmoil again. And so what you're saying is like, get them in. What'd you say? 78% will
78% will
buy
buy
from you.
again. Yeah. And so I just want you,
Amazing.
again, I'm not telling anybody to do anything, but I want you to consider the feasibility of this being a solution. If you have a higher priced service and it is not currently flying off the shelves, you might want to look into considering offering a lower priced option to start the conversation. Now, you need to have the right strategy, the right what is the word I want to use? The right indoctrination sequences, the right campaigns in place to turn that lower ticket sale into a bigger purchase. You need to figure that out or work with your business coaches and consultants to be able to figure out what's going to be the right mix for you. But I'm just suggesting that you consider the feasibility of it. Because once a
Certainly.
person is
Yeah.
buying, or let me say it this way, people will lurk before they buy. And so even when you have a person that the first time they interact with you, they're giving you 30,000, they've been following you, they've been consuming your content for a long period of time, right? Google did this consumer study, the 7-11-4, right? You need to have 7 hours of content across the 11 different touch points or moments on 4 different platforms. That means you have to be out there enough that when a person Googles you, or they're considering, they've come across a reel on Instagram and they're considering you to solve their problem, they're going to do extensive research before they invest. So if you don't have enough for them to research you, where you are saying the same things based on the problem that you want to be known for solving over and over and over in multiple places, then you might miss out. So by the time they come and they give you their $30,000, they have thoroughly consumed I closed the sale last week for $36,000, Hilary. In my mind, this woman was brand new to my community. But when we got on the phone, she said, I've been following you since the top of the year. I have consumed everything you've put out. I've listened to all 200 plus episodes on your podcast. She had done a lot of the work on her own so that by the time she came to the conversation with me, she was ready to invest $30,000. Not everybody's going to be that way. And for some people, their research process is going to be to buy something smaller from you to see how they feel in making that investment before they will make a significant investment with you. And so if your
And
company,
to see how you make them feel and to
correct,
see the transformate. Totally
correct.
agree.
And if your company is
And
not
that
primed in
becomes
position for
huge.
that, you're not going to get to serve the people you desire to
Mm.
serve in your business. And so part of relaunching is being cognizant of what's happening in your industry with your ideal client, right? You have to know, you have to
Mm.
understand buyer psychology, you have to understand buyer
Mm.
thought patterns, you have to get out and survey and get data on your people to validate why they're doing what they're doing and when they're doing it, so that you can use that information as you look to launch and relaunch whatever you're looking to launch and or relaunch.
So you're giving us a lot of insights in today. And so let's talk about you right now. And as you're looking into the future relaunches that you're going to be really looking for to take you to the next level, to make this remarkable way that you're going to be running your business as you level up. What are you looking towards?
Yeah, so we are elevating, we are going higher. So we're continuing to carve out a subset of the market that is ready for something more. Our clients in this next season, they're already successful. Their success is not the problem. They are not broke. They are not broken. It's not a matter of do they have the money. They are looking for deeper impact. They are looking for a holistic experience as they look to grow their businesses. They're no longer what I used to call one trick ponies, where all they are their business.
Hmm.
They're looking to be better wives or husbands, better parents, better leaders, better community servants, better CEOs. They're looking to hire teams so that their companies can become self-led. They're looking for ways to diversify their income and their financial legacy. They're looking at wealth building through their business. How can they use their business to be a source for them to profit millions of dollars a year? See, the first iteration was getting entrepreneurs and small business owners to have $1 million companies. But let's be clear, $1 million in revenue does not make you a millionaire. So once
No,
you
you're
have it,
lucky if you have profit margin of
exactly,
25, right?
exactly,
Shit.
right?
So you're bringing home 250, and when you start to take everything else out, you're not you're not operating at that high
You're
level.
absolutely not, right? But the first threshold, the
Yeah.
first milestone is 7 figures. Because once you've
Mm.
expanded your capacity to bring in $1 million in a year or less, you then get to expand the capacity to bring in $1 million in a month or less, in a week or less, in an hour. And so once that happens, now you are on a whole other playing field and you're actually using your business to build wealth. And so those are the clients in this next season that we're looking to work with. They are
So
sophisticated and savvy. Go ahead.
as you're looking at this though,
Mhm.
and you're relaunching into this next level and really helping people with legacy, with really sustainability, so that it's more of they can go on not just a 2 week vacation. They can, I heard the other day, you really have a business if you can leave it for a year.
Yeah.
Like if you know. So for you right now, what are some of your personal goals
Mhm.
that you're like, hey, we're coming into year end here. What are you looking at for 2025 that people could be like, oh, like that? How do I make that happen? How do you go about hitting some of these milestones? Because we know what you've done in the past where it's like, boom, I'm ready. I'm doing this. I'm making it happen. And you have. But now going into the future, how do you handle those
So
things?
it's interesting that you talked about being away from your business for a year, because I'm going to be 50 in 2025. My birthday is November.
You look fabulous,
Thank you. Thank you.
girl.
Thank you. So I'm going to be
Beautiful.
50 November of 2025. And so the gift that I am giving myself is that, and what the process we're going through right now as a company is preparing the company for me to not be present for a year. So my
No
50th year,
way that I just said that.
you
That is
literally just said
awesome.
that. And that's one of the things that we're working on. I have a new book I want to write. And so my intention is to write that during my 50th year
Mhm.
and to travel and to not to have a business that is not relying on me to bring transformation into the lives of the clients that I serve. So literally we had our team retreat a few weeks ago at the time of this
Mhm.
recording, and we literally began the journey of strategizing and planning for my absence for a year. Now, whether I'll actually take a year off, who knows? But we're going to go through the process of preparing the business that if I do wake up on my birthday in 2025, my 50th, and say, you know what? I think I'll take a year off. I know my company will still make millions, even though I'm not fully present. And so that is a whole other level. And in order to get there, you have to have not only the revenue to hire the team, but you have to have a team of leaders and you have to be building an infrastructure that allows your company to be self-led. And so that is the journey that we're on. And I'm excited about it. It's a little scary. I'm not going to lie, right? I'm excited about it though. I'm more excited than I am afraid because I believe that fear is an indication that your next level is present. And so I'm really excited about what is going to come out of this exercise and what we're going to be able to share with our clients after we've done it ourselves.
You know what you're also proving here is that we often hear, I mean, there's so many things out there that says, just focus, just focus. No, it's focus on the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, what you're focusing on is you wake up on your 50th birthday, you take a year off and you make sure that whatever you're putting in place, and we know it's all about quantifiably like sitting there and saying, if you focus on it, and you are measuring and you are looking at it from your processes, as you discussed so much at the beginning, that's when things start to fall in line. There was a great study done where even if you don't do anything, but you focus on really the intention that something is going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
just by putting the reticular activation system on that, that's already starting you down from a line of success. It's crazy. Then you start to add the right people in. You start to look at your roles and your responsibilities on that org chart, and you're creating the X company of revenue so that you can do that.
Yeah.
So that you have the people in place. That is so incredible. I love it. I'm seeing the time. We got to wrap. Let me ask you, as we're kind of like rolling this in, you've got your past relaunch, your present, your future.
Mm-hmm.
What do you recommend to people that are like, I want to be like this woman, I want to be like Darnyelle? How can I start down this path?
Yeah. So first, I'd be honored to be a blueprint, a prototype for anyone out there who is looking to continue to level up. I think the first step is to really sit with your vision and anchor it into your body, right? Our bodies keep score of so many different things. And until your body keeps score of the belief and the capacity to go to your next level will continue to elude you. So really spend some time anchoring in to the beliefs that will support you in up leveling and whatever that looks like for you. That would be the first thing. The second thing that I would say is I would want you to identify your trusted advisors. These can be team members, these can be family members, these can be mentors out in the world, and share your vision with them. Because once you say it out loud, it becomes real. And Emerson says, once you decide, all of the universe rearranges itself to bring you what you decided. And we could argue that saying it out loud is a decision, right? So the part of the reason why I said it live on the Relaunch podcast, that we're going through the exercises of me being able to take a year away from my business. I keep saying it out loud because every time I say it out loud, I'm anchoring it in, and I am giving the universe permission to show us how to do it. Sometimes we don't do the things we need to do, we desire to do, we want to do, because we're busy trying to figure out how. I believe the how is not my job. I believe my job is to anchor in the belief and to hold the possibility confidently without apology that anything I desire can come into my life experience. And because that is my job, I can trust that all things will line up to support me to bring into my life what it is that I say that I want. So I would offer the same thing to you. And then the third thing that I would say is, after you've anchored it in and you've talked with your trusted advisors and they give you some feedback, begin the process of making a plan, because you cannot make the move if you don't first make a plan. So start the process with
Oh,
making a
so
plan.
good. That is 100% clarity, plan, and then that accountability. So great.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to ask you something,
Mhm.
something that I am going to put out there as, here on the podcast, since you've done it too. I am interviewing 100 impact millionaires for
Mhm.
a new show. I need you to be one of them.
Oh,
Would you be
absolutely.
on the show? That
It's
is going to
done.
be epic. Done. And by the way, everyone, this is going to be coming your way soon. This is going to be one of those, like, oh my God, not to be missed. You're going to hear all of the tips and strategies and secrets from the people who are actually making impacts in this world. So I have to say, Darnyelle, thank you for being here. How can people find you?
Yeah, if you go to movetomillions.com, that is a page that will connect you wherever you'd want to be able to find me online, and you can learn more about me and the work that we do in our company.
Well, thank you. We will have it all in the show notes as well. Such a pleasure to be here with you today. Everyone, thank you. Go check her out. Go to Move to Millions. And here's the thing, make a commitment to yourself to go make something happen. You heard it here. You've heard the past relaunches are not defining us, it's not creating our future. What's creating our future is where you are today and what do you want to have happen. So,
Absolutely.
everyone, live now, love now, relaunch right now into that lifestyle of success. We'll see you next week. If you like this video and want to get more like it, head over here.